Everyone's favorite movie podcast is back with no intro music. Critique-Opolis is back. Sorry we've been gone for a while, but what's our excuse?
Wino?
I'm not drinking.
I forgot my wino music, introduction music.
Well, because remember, in 2 years, I still haven't found the time to figure. Well, we did that upload, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could try it.
No, I didn't mean it like.
Just because, before we did that update, I would play music.
Yeah, and then
I just play it from the computer, and it made the sound card error.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Just for shits and giggles, next week we'll try it.
Okay.
Critique-Opolis is back. This week, tag. Now, I know up until this point we've tried to do a lot of more indie movies that are kind of serious, but we both love comedy so much, but we haven't done a comedy movie up till this point. And your boyfriend John Hamm was in it, so I figured you'd like it. And
I think you got the boyfriend wrong.
You don't like John Hamm?
I mean, he's okay, but
I thought the girls swooned for him. Oh, Ed Helms.
Oh no, I got confused. Wrong movies.
What do you mean? What movie?
We'll
movie
just
did you
keep
think
going.
we were doing? What movie did you think we were doing?
Well, for a minute I thought you were talking about how we both liked comedy and we both liked movies, and so we had been watching a few of those similar movies, and I was thinking that you were talking about what are those movies? The Las Vegas.
Oh, The Hangover.
Thank you. See.
Oh yeah.
See, so that's why I was like, I think you got the boyfriend wrong, because guess who was my boyfriend?
Yeah, I know
okay.
who it's. I know it's Brad.
So I just had the wrong movie.
And I just want you to know, for our blacklist, he was on the short list of someone I was going to cast, but I nixed him
for this episode's short.
Yeah.
Blacklist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. This one, it's not too old. It was 2018. A screenplay by Rob McKittrick, Mark Stellan, and Russ Adams. Apparently, this was based on a true story of the movie was just 5 friends, but I guess in real life it was 18 guys who.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so many.
It was more than 5 guys, and they set aside 1 month every year for was it 20 or 30 years or something?
The last 28 years, yeah.
Yeah, they would get together and just have this impromptu game of tag all month, and it got consistently more and more advanced, and felt you couldn't see your opponent coming to tag them. So all these disguises were employed, and events were crashed in order to people's weddings were crashed in order to get tagged, or people's golf outings. Guys would dress up as the person who was trying to tag the next person would dress up as a caddy, an elderly caddy, and join the golf game just so he could tag the next person who was his buddy. But apparently, I read the Wikipedia on this, and these guys, the Wikipedia didn't go into a lot of detail on this group of friends, but I want to say they sold the rights for it to be adapted into a movie, and I just read it too. Well, in any event, they sold the rights for their game, not the game, but the story of their game, and it was in development within the year. And then apparently there was a number of interesting people cast in this who some people dropped out and some people stayed, but Tracy Morgan was originally supposed to be in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
That's interesting.
And Will Ferrell and Jack Black, which would have also made a super funny movie.
Those would have been great. Jack Black especially.
But I mean, like, maybe getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. The story is just this group of 5 guys who still play tag one month a year, every year, and it's centered around, like the film is, the one guy who has never been tagged was Renner's character, and he's getting married, and all the other, like John Hamm, Jake Johnson, Ed Helms, I guess Hannibal Buress was in this.
I don't know, who was that?
He was, or was it? Maybe I'm messing it up. What's his name? Little Rel Howley.
I don't know.
He was the African American.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was the one token black friend.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting. So
yeah, because we saw this like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, or something.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah. I guess Rashida Jones was in this too, and Isla Fisher, who, like, she wasn't part of the original crew, but she plays Hogan's wife. That's Ed Helms' wife, and she is so into this game. Like, you understand why they got married, because she's just a complete nut. She's not part of the original crew, but she's just so into it.
It's so funny to me because from what I remember when we saw the movie, she didn't seem like she was into it, but then, like, she would be really into it, which that's not very well said, but you know what I mean? It's just funny.
Yeah, she would like when she was rooting for her husband to make a tag, she would just get crazy, like a crazed football fan.
Insane. That's exactly. I did think about that. She plays that, like, excitable, like, Midwest mom so well. Oh my gosh, she does so great. She made the movie fun, very fun. I mean, it was a fun movie, but
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's just such an excellent concept for a movie. It's like 5 adult men who have careers and families and jobs and like mortgages.
Some high-powered careers, like, big deal.
Like, the opening is Ed Helms is a surgeon or a doctor or something, and he puts his practice on hiatus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he can take a job as a janitor and disguise himself as a janitor to tag
John Hamm's character, and he's a lawyer, I think. Maybe
he's a lawyer or a business
some kind
owner.
of office
person. He's some kind of big deal. Yeah, he's got his own building, and
his own building.
He's in there, and he confronts him while he's in a conference room being interviewed for a Wall Street Journal article, and
his friend is a janitor.
Yeah, he's like, Hoagie, you got a job at my company so you can tag me? And the reporter, who plays the reporter, the blonde gal?
I don't know that.
Annabelle Wellis.
Okay.
Yeah. In the middle of the interview, she's like, this is a way better story than the story of your company. That's like, you guys are grown men and you still play tag, and you've been playing tag for 30 years.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's absolutely wonderful. Hilarious.
Just like so whenever someone's about to be tagged, just the chases that ensue and the willingness that these guys are to expose themselves to self-harm just to avoid being tagged it's fantastic. And Jeremy Renner's character, it's like he channels Jason Bourne to avoid being tagged, and he can see all the potential tags coming.
Yeah. And he never gets tagged.
And he never gets tagged, ever.
And they can be so close. That I couldn't believe that through the whole movie. He never, ever got tagged.
He was like a superhero.
Yeah.
And the woman he marries is a superhero. And in fact, he goes to such lengths at the end, like when he's getting married, to avoid the tag, that you kind of see him as like like diabolical. Like especially the wife. He employs the wife, and she's into it. Like when they fake her labor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh God, you have no like moral qualms about winning this game.
None whatsoever.
In any means, by any means necessary.
They're really into it. Like really into it.
But I think the overall arching theme of the movie was that, like, there are some people who are friends with one another who, no matter what, they're going to hold on to their youth, and they're going to hold on to the thing that makes them feel good, and the thing that maintains camaraderie and forces them to maintain their relationship with each other. Like, they're all childhood friends. But by doing this and keeping the game going, regardless of where you're at in life, like it helps them stay young. And the real story, just when you see, if you watch the movie at the end of it, when the credits are rolling, you see all these outtakes of not from the movie, but of the real
tagging,
the real group of friends who were playing tag, and just the events they would crash, and the lengths they would go to, chasing each other with golf carts, and belaying off of buildings to tag their friend. It's crazy, but in a lot of ways, like guys like that are like super lucky to have this big group of friends that are all willing to do this and never stop.
Yeah, 30 years is a long time to keep this going.
And like, I don't want to give away anything in the movie, but they kind of ended it on, it wasn't a sad note, but like kind of like what happens to Hoagie, like at the end.
It was very
great time to take a big sip of vodka.
I know I'm not doing so well. It was a really sad.
Like, he doesn't, like, it's an off-screen thing, but like, honest to God, I thought it was like they set it up.
Yeah, for a while I was really believing that.
Like the doctor was involved.
Yeah.
It was like they hired all the people at the hospital, and we were like, no, it's really not good news.
I think after all that they had been doing and been through with their game, you couldn't believe anything was actually real.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the wife going into labor early or whatever, like,
to avoid, like, I'm coming out, you're not going to tag me, this is a serious thing. And it was all a big giant ruse.
Yeah, and I was definitely like, there's no way she's having a baby. She's getting married like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, maybe she is.
Yeah. And that kind of like, that's a bit of a spoiler, but it's, the whole movie is fun.
It's very fun.
Yeah, I was surprised, like when I was reading in the critical response on Wikipedia, there was something I don't know, I think a lot of critics are just like, I think they get up in the morning just to write something negative. This was just like it wasn't a deep movie, it was fun for the sake of being fun. One, Peter Dubridge in Variety wrote, "Tag leaves audiences energized and, dare I say, inspired, having delivered all that outrageousness in service to what ultimately amounts to a sincere celebration of lasting human connections," which I loved. But then A.O. Scott of the Times wrote, "Tag, unlike many of its recent ilk, at least bothers to be a movie rather than a TV or sketch distended to feature length. The performers don't seem to have been shoved in front of the camera and instructed to be funny. They have to work for their laughs and to find coherence in an ensemble." And then John Frosch of the Hollywood Reporter said the film was neither good nor bad, but rather, despite its out there story, which I don't think it's an out there story. I think it's a very simple concept.
A very simple concept, I agree.
Almost numbingly ordinary. Maybe on the surface it's numbingly ordinary, but like it's constructed in a way that they build a story around it. You don't have to. You just have to have a foundational block. And that's the foundation is the game. An easy breezy action com that's sometimes amusing but rarely funny, competent rather than inspired. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was very funny. Yeah. I thought it was entertaining. It was funny. I enjoyed it. There was a beginning, middle, and an end.
Like, the idea of like something being so highbrow, like if you make something super highbrow, it's not funny. There's got to be an element of like absurdity to it.
And they did that very well. Yeah. I think
a personal favorite part is when they try to confront Jeremy Renner, aka Jerry Pierce. Mm-hmm. They try to confront him in the reception hall at night, and they're like all hiding. And he like sniffs the whole thing out, and everything's all the tag avoidance. All the avoidance is done in slow mo. And Ed Helms, he's so great at physical comedy, especially when it comes to him being hurt. He's falling out of windows, and it was great.
It was. I thought it was really funny. Very amusing.
So yeah, there's not that many movies that we're going to review that we're going to talk shit about, but. I think that's the key with any movie is you got to be in the right mood for it, and
very true.
When I suggested this, I'm like, I want to laugh at something. I haven't seen a movie that I've laughed at in a long time.
Yeah, it's not serious. You don't have to think about it. It's
like Airplane.
You watch it, enjoy.
It's not as funny as Airplane, but like, do you remember the first time you saw it and really understood it? Because I think you saw Airplane when you were really young, and it was. Didn't you tell me you didn't fully get it?
I haven't seen it since then. We've only watched clips.
But like, I've talked to other people who've seen Airplane for the first time when they were adults, and they're like, "Oh my god, I couldn't stop laughing." It's hilarious.
It's very funny.
And that I think that's a legitimate challenge for anybody in Hollywood to make a laugh out loud, consistently funny movie. There's comedies, and they're like, meh. And there's gap. They always try to inject some level of drama in it. Like, what's the one about the girl who's getting married and Melissa McCarthy? The whole Bridesmaids. Yeah. Like, it's a funny movie, but like there's dramatic elements to it. But like a movie like Airplane, and even this, where like there wasn't a ton of dramatic element to it. It was just the constant laughs.
I was going to say, I think it was just, constant comedy from start to finish.
Hangover was close.
Yep, close. But there were some serious parts.
Yeah, there were some serious parts, but like there's not a ton of like just start to finish funny movies.
It was a lot, a lot of laugh out loud all the time.
So when you're in the mood for it, tag 2018, totally worth it.
Definitely. Okay,
your blacklist pick. This is all you now.
Okay.
You selected, go.
Okay, I'll go ahead. My blacklist pick today is a movie called There You Are.
I thought it was There You Are Now.
Just There You Are.
Oh, my bad.
I might have added it now when we were doing our
There You Are
research. There You Are by Brooke Baker.
Okay.
And the synopsis is, when a non-confrontational playwright loses her engagement ring, she must travel through Italy to get it back with a man who was supposed to be just a one-night stand, discussing love and lying along the way.
So as you mentioned this to me, I just totally jumped out of my seat. I'm like, this is a complete rebrand of Only You with Robert Downey Jr. and Marissa Tomei, which is a personal favorite. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. It's Marissa Tomei. When she's a child, she's playing a Ouija board with her friends, and her brother manipulates the game to make her think there's a guy named David Bradley who she's supposed to marry. And then like 20 years later in life, she's a teacher, and she's getting ready for her wedding to a podiatrist, and somebody calls to say they can't make it, and it's a friend of her brother's named David Bradley, and she just like, she's thrown 20 years into the past, like, holy crap, I gotta marry this guy, where are you going? He's, oh, I'm in Venice. And she, oh, I love Venice. And she just, this is the absurd part of the movie, is she discounts the fact that she's marrying another man, and she's like, I'm going to Italy to find this guy, and I'm taking Bonnie Hunt with me. And then she bumps into a guy who impersonates David Bradley, because he bumps into her, and she's Marissa Tomei, and she's like 24, so like, who wouldn't fall in love with her? This is before she got all politicized, but just like this beautiful short-haired pixie cut cutie pie in a long red dress running around Italy. And Robert Downey Jr. pretends he's David Bradley to start to get to know her, and they run around Italy together. And can you look up real quick, who is the guy? There was an Italian or a Spanish guy who was in that. He's been in a ton of stuff, and I can never remember his name, but Bonnie Hunt's in it. I think Fisher Stevens is in it. It's just a great movie, but I think There You Are is it's kind of a rebranding it's a similar framing of that story. It's about, Italy and running around, and she's probably gonna fall in love with this guy. I'm betting. But
I think too, I'd like to add that if you have not seen the movie, you've definitely seen the movie poster or like the DVD or the video.
Oh, I bought the
it's
CD.
Very recognizable. Again, Marissa Tomei in the red dress in Italy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know that the people are wondering, like, who's your...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm details aside.
Who was your pick?
Oh, okay. So for the movie There You Are, we had a leading lady and a leading man. And I chose, I have two, because I can never do one.
I can't
And
either.
I have Alison Brie, who I think I might have picked for another movie. Do you know who Alison Brie is?
No, offhand, I just realized I didn't connect to the internet when we got down here. So
I'm having a lot of trouble doing that.
All right. Well, then don't worry about it. You just
Okay.
Do you remember what else she's been in?
Alison Brie. Yeah, she was on a big TV show about wrestlers. Do you remember this? I think it's on like HBO or something.
I don't watch
but she's been in. Now that you're asking me, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. You'd recognize her. She's married to Dave Franco.
Oh, okay.
She's white and she has dark hair.
Oh, narrows it down. Okay, and what about your guy?
And then for my guy, I picked Glenn Powell. He's really big right now.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah.
Thank you.
And he's got some comedic chops.
And
from Top Gun or Maverick.
Yeah,
and what's the other fly movie he's in? Like Kings of the Sky or something about World War II. It's he develops a friendship with.
I just saw like a thing about this.
He develops a friendship with a black pilot during World War II.
Is he in the Tuskegee Airmen movie?
No, this is a new movie. This is out.
Oh,
now.
that hasn't. Okay.
No, this is a new movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see. Yeah, I can't
He's
remember the detail.
You're gonna love this bit of. What am I gonna say?
He's in a romantic comedy movie right now.
I didn't know that. That's not what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay, just kidding.
He is in. What is the Batman movie with Bane?
He's in a Batman movie?
What's the Batman movie with Bane?
I don't know.
Batman Returns, or what everybody out there, I'm sure, who's listening to this is screaming at their computer. How do you not know the name of this? But anyway, he's in the stockbroker scene where Bane takes over the Gotham Stock Exchange. Glenn Powell has a bit part where he plays one of the stockbrokers.
Wow.
And like you see him, I'm like, that guy's. I remember in the theater being like, that guy's pretty good looking.
I think
And we might have talked about this before. That guy's pretty good looking. He delivers lines well. And he shows up in. I'm sure he's had other roles since then, but his next big role is like 10 years later with Top Gun Maverick. So yeah.
I think he's been around for a while, and I've seen him before in other things, but I didn't know who he was. And then obviously with Maverick, everybody knows who he is now. But yeah, he was in a romantic comedy that I forget the title of right now, but it did well for him, I think, or.
Oh, I love hearing that. Yeah, he looks like he could be a jerk, or he just plays that well.
Yeah, I think that's why I cast him immediately, because I thought you need the playwright needs to be likability and easygoing and flexible, but the lady really into it, and then the guy, they're supposed to just have been a one-night stand, and then they end up traveling through Italy together. So he's got to
be likable and funny enough that she's not
I want to get rid of you, right? Yeah.
He's got to at least be eye candy with the gift of gab.
Yeah, which Glenn Powell could do.
Yeah, and we don't have connectivity, so we're going to be doing a lot of this from memory because we can't reference our IMDb.
We cannot.
Okay, so, God, that guy's better than my pick. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Can I just pause for one moment? In your only you conversation, you are
my guy. The
international person. His name is Joaquim de Almeida.
That's
I'm
him.
sure I'm so sorry butchering his name.
No, he does.
But I recognize
he falls for Bonnie Hunt.
Aha. Okay.
But Bonnie Hunt can't do it. She's totally charmed by him, but she's actually, she's married to Fisher Stevens in that movie.
Oh, okay. Even I need to rewatch this. It's been a long time. Similar to Airplane. But anyway, okay, continue. So you chose there you go, or there you are.
Playwright, leading lady. I try to go with smaller actors and actresses.
I wondered about that.
But I couldn't with this because, I picked 3: Emma Stone or Anna Kendrick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good choices.
Or, you remember when I told you that, I think I'm in love with this girl. I think I picked her before. Louisa Lapira.
The name doesn't sound familiar.
I don't. She's Asian, but she's. I think you got to look her up.
What was she in?
I didn't write that down.
Okay.
But if anyone out there is listening, she's beautiful.
Can you spell her name, please?
Liza. Lapira is Lapira.
Oh, she does look familiar.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so for the one night stand, the guy, I'm a little. God, Glenn Powell's a good one. Ryan Gosling, because
Ryan Gosling.
What can't that guy do?
Right.
Or this might surprise you because he's a little bit older, but he's getting a lot of in the wake of his friend's passing. He's also gotten a lot more commercial work. Matt LeBlanc from Friends, Joey. Are you kidding me? Joey from Friends.
No, I know who you're talking about, but I don't think he's the one that passed away.
No, I know his friend passed away.
Oh, okay.
Chandler Bing.
Matt
Perry passed away. But Matt LeBlanc was the dopey
and he would
actor.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Because he could play Italian. He's got comedic chops. He's a little bit older, but maybe he was been divorced or
Yeah, there were no ages given or anything like that.
He totally has middle-aged charm.
I would like to see him and Emma Stone in this movie. Yeah. I think that would be really interesting. Emma Stone was a really good pick.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's who I would go with. But it's almost overly formulaic if you were to do Anna Kendrick and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you why I picked him and Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, because Hollywood loves those rematches of two man and a woman who've worked well together in the past, and they did really well with was the one where not I Love You to Death. You know the movie
Crazy Stupid Love.
Crazy Stupid Love, yeah. And they were like he took his shirt off in front of her, and she's like, "Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous."
Yeah, that's a really good call. Plus, his name would be a really big draw. You know, lots of people would go to this movie because he was in it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's how you package a project to sell it.
I would go to this movie with a glass of wine.
Yeah, like I got to tell you, if they put Matt LeBlanc in it, I think the market would be smaller.
But he would be a good.
I mean, he'd be a good pick, but like Ryan Gosling would be like you'd be clearly.
He's like an A-lister in a different kind of way. I think that Matt LeBlanc is an A-lister too, but
he's a TV A-lister.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good and Ryan Gosling is movies.
Yeah, and because I'm trying to see the up to date the 2024 mirror of. From Only You, the cast. Marissa Tomei
and Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. So that's the blacklist for this week. Hopefully, I can access all my stuff. I still got it up from the. You want to move on to the dailies?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a good plan. I hope I can access mine too.
So I just kept it up.
Yep, I have it.
You wanted to talk about the BAFTAs.
Yes. Quickly. So I'm always, and I'm sure people listen, if people are listening, that they'll be like, Louisa, this is the way it is. This is like the explanation that you're looking for. And I should probably research into it to see what the actual answer is. But the BAFTAs, in my personal opinion, they're like the British Oscars. And they happened yesterday on Sunday. And I'm just confused because if they're the British Film Awards, then shouldn't the movies all be or mostly be British? And there is the nominated movies.
Well, we get international movies here
That's true, but like we have an international Oscar or a foreign film Oscar.
Oh.
And so...
Yeah, but like Hollywood and Bollywood are kind of the centers of... I mean, you can make a movie anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this is the answer, but like...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The two hubs are in America and India.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of that, if you're going to have movies for your population, you'll get some, made. You'll get... I mean, people make movies all over the world, but not... There's only a certain number of those movies that find an audience that actually get picked up, purchased for distribution. A lot of them they run the circuit.
That's true. That's a good point.
They go around. They do like what I do when I take Honey on the road and I go to shows. They go to film fests. And some people see them, a lot of people don't, and they present them to buyers. And if they're not bought by a distribution company, they don't find the audience, and they don't get, they're not contenders for awards.
That's true. I mean, in the BAFTA, the movies that are nominated for BAFTAs are more British, if you will, than say like the Oscar nominations are. So that part I do understand and see. But yeah, I just always wonder like.
But Britain cranks out a ton of product. I mean, you see all kinds of...
They do.
I mean, like, I'm not even going to go through all the titles, but there's a ton of British content out there that people are consuming on platforms now.
That's very true. That's a good point. Yeah, so I always thought that was interesting. But anyway, that's it about that detail.
In terms of... news, the Bob Marley One Love is currently at 27.7 million with mixed reviews. I think a lot of people were hoping that was going to be a stronger story, but it's just kind of like in the middle in terms of impressing people. At least that's what the industry rags are saying. Mm-hmm. And then Wonka, which has your guy Chalamet in it, who's sorry, Tim, you do nothing for me. 600 million globally thus far. So he's not going to be hurting for roles.
No, I don't think so. He isn't anyway.
Yeah, he isn't anyway.
But I think it's very interesting and good news for that movie and the people that made that movie, because it's a musical and it's a prequel to...
Wait a minute, they made a musical? I have not seen it, so everyone who's like, obviously. No, I haven't.
No, I think a lot of people, at least some other friends that I've talked to, they've asked me about it, or they've also been like, well, I started to watch it, but then they started singing and I was so confused. And I was like, it's not like the original Willy Wonka.
The original was a musical, had musical components.
It did kind of, yeah. This one was really music and really, like, it was very musical. Ugh. There was a lot of music and a lot of dancing. I mean, it was very, I would say, like a children's movie.
Ugh.
You know, like, it wasn't, it's just different. It's not the same.
Nice air conditioning. Anyway.
But,
yeah. It's not our kind of movie. God, that sounds awful. Well, sorry, folks. Thanks for sticking with us halfway through. I wanted to relay this little tidbit to you. Mm-hmm. The note I wrote down was that the U.S. and the Euro market demands are now flipped. So Europeans are looking for more big budget, big action, big stars in their products now. That's the trend. And I think to a lot, at least this is what the rags are saying, the U.S., because of the number of production houses, we're starting to see more, if not independent, smaller budget productions happen, which, at least in my mind, would say, you know, back in the 80s when we'd see all those middle market movies that were great because they could be an original concept or an original story, but they didn't cost a ton to produce. And then they would, that's where you get these great home runs from. You're starting to see more of that because there's agencies now and smaller micro production companies that have the ability to finance more projects and more unique projects. So you're seeing that trend advance in the U.S. and which is odd to say that Europe, they want big budget, big star stuff. Yeah,
it is really odd. When you were saying that, that's exactly what I was thinking, but nodding my head because, okay, if that's what they want to do.
Let me see if I have. Yeah, that's in the.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, that was in the. Actually, I'll read you a little bit here. I know this isn't great radio here, but 74th Berlin Film Festival rolls out the red carpet. The film world turns its gaze to Germany for one of the most prestigious festivals on the circuit. Berlinale and its distribution platform, the EFM, are a global platform where indie darlings rub elbows with blockbuster ambitions. The real story, however, might be the fascinating narrative we're seeing unfold with international buyers in Berlin. International markets, especially Europe, aim for big, star-driven blockbusters, while the U.S. has been opting for smaller strategic film deals post-strikes. In Europe, titles like Magic, Faraway Tree, and thrillers featuring heavyweights such as Channing Tatum and Aaron Taylor-Johnson are the talk of the town as buyers lean towards grand narrative that promise captivative theater audiences. European market, it seems, is betting big on the kind of cinematic expressions that fill seats and dazzle viewers, echoing a tradition of lavish productions and widescreen storytelling, which it's neat. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of people in France who are like, "Oh, this is disgusting. What happened to the nouveau?" But I've been here, especially people my age, have been crying for middle market movies or smaller original concept movies and that to make a comeback. Mm-hmm. And you and I talked a little while ago about how there seems to be conflicting information out there as to whether or not theater attendance, depending on the periodical you read, is constricting or growing. My sense is that it's, outside of the big summer blockbusters, that it's, and with the rise of AI and platforms that, after the rush from Top Gun Maverick, that theater owners are probably seeing it hard to get people to come in and buy tickets. Mm-hmm. I read a couple things I told you about earlier that was like, oh no, there's going to be a big, there's going to be a growth in the theater sector. I'm like, I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, there's plenty of product, but delivery mechanisms they're all over the place. I mean, people can talk a big game about how much they like going to the theater, mm-hmm. but when it comes to actually, it was a mandate in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s that, if you wanted to see a movie, you had to pay to go see it. Mm-hmm. Yep. You had to go to see it.
There wasn't a choice. You didn't have a choice. Yeah.
Now it's like, well, there's options. It'll be in the theater mm-hmm. for a little bit, but if it's going to be streaming in
then
2.5 weeks, I'll just wait.
And then I can watch it in the comfort of my own home.
And then, so I don't know. I'm going to be real curious to see. We haven't reviewed the dailies in several weeks, so this will be an interesting thing to watch to see if there's actually going to be a growth or contraction in theater ticket sales. Oh, you know what I didn't do?
Pick a recipe?
I didn't pick a recipe. Oh.
I thought about that at the end of our last segment. That's what I thought you were coming up with next, but I forgot we were going to do the daily discussion too.
I don't have a connection either. Damn it. Oh no, I did that one already. I was thinking about the grilled cheese with the chili pepper honey. Well, all right, I'll tell you what. This isn't a formal recipe. We're going to get back to the dailies in a second here, but I did figure out a new use for the pineapple honey.
Oh yeah?
Teriyaki.
Oh, mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave it up to the listeners out there. If you fancy a teriyaki with pineapple, look up, and don't store buy it. If you want to make your own, find a recipe online, and all you have to do is search teriyaki recipe with honey and pineapple. And it'll have both in there. I mean, again, I always say this. If you look it up, you're going to get the phone book, pick the one you like, and then swap out the pineapple honey for the chunks of pineapple and the honey. But, pineapple in teriyaki is a total home run. Actually, you know what I wish we had do you know what that would work great on? Were those salmon chunks that, the Yoshida. So we watch a Instagram feed of a music guy who
they were teriyaki glazed, weren't they?
Yeah, they were teriyaki glazed salmon chunks that he makes in the air fryer. Mm-hmm. So it's really easy. Just cut up your salmon fillet into inch cubes. Mm-hmm. Make your teriyaki sauce with the pineapple honey. Glaze it. And I don't know if you put olive oil on it and then the teriyaki or what.
Can't remember. All I remember is the teriyaki on the salmon. But I know there must be something.
There must be oil somewhere in there, but you air fry it. Mm-hmm. And you know what? We got to get one of those.
An air fryer.
Oh man, because I would eat that every day. And it's
there
good
are a
for
lot
you.
of really good things good recipes that we've seen.
I'll bet you
for an air fryer
because I don't have an air fryer, mm-hmm. and I know how good salmon is for me, especially with heart history. Mm-hmm. Making it on the stove or in the oven is just such a giant pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. But an air fryer, bang, it's done in 7 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm talking to myself into an air fryer. But yeah, that's the recipe for this go around. Pineapple teriyaki with salmon cubes in an air fryer. Look it up on Google. You'll find your own recipe. It'll work. Anyway, back to the movie news. AI tool that I thought you might find interesting. This is something that, I don't know if you saw this. It's an AI tool called Avail that execs and agents are going to be using, or that's being sold. It's kind of like a way to condense all the stories that they receive in there for review when they're picking stories that they want to make, and it generates the cliff notes. It takes all their inputs and just generates a quick cliff note, summarizes thousands of scripts for agents and execs down to a quick synopsis. Secret weapon to the most tech-savvy execs in multiple major studios and leading agencies. It summarizes books and scripts within minutes, including foreign language titles. It's kind of a rest easy model that never trains or uploads or outputs, so it's not going to take the content and dump it to the internet. It like locks it down, so like once it's submitted into Avail, it doesn't look like it can be extracted to the cloud. It respects creator copyright, which is interesting. And then uploads are encrypted end-to-end in AWS highest security tier by the U.S. government for top secret workloads. So it's meant to make your story concise and into a sellable 1, 2, or 3 sentence block without worrying about it being leaked all over the internet, which is kind of interesting.
Thank you for explaining, because I started to read that segment and I was sort of understanding it, but not completely and totally.
Well, because a lot of these stuff is sent over email all the time, or they send a script, but it's like a physical copy, and it can be passed around. And so it can be passed around to somebody, and that person can just take it, flip through it, I like it, and then parse out the chunks they want. And then, like, you remember the movie that we saw with your other boyfriend? God, you really get around. Matthew McConaughey and my girl Penelope, Sahara.
Yes, okay. I remember that.
That movie was in. It was a fun movie, but outside of the actual movie, the producers went to war. Were in a legal battle with that for like 17 years with the writer.
Oh yeah,
with the writer.
I remember you saying this. Yeah,
and I don't think if he won, he didn't win much. I think the producers finally won, but this is that exact kind of thing. Is he had issues with the story that they developed. They said it was too much like mine, and they didn't pay for it properly, or there was an ownership issue. And that's the interesting thing about something like Avail, is that it would ostensibly say, all right, if I'm going to put my script or my story, I'm going to cultivate my story and put it into this, I'm going to share it with one person or 5 people, and those 5 people only.
That's it, yeah.
So I know who has access to it. If anything happens to it, one of you 5 people are responsible.
Right.
So like you have more control over the security of your intellectual property, which sounds pretty cool. And then development. What stuff that's coming up? I picked a couple things. You picked a couple things. You want to go first with what you picked?
Sure. Yep. Let me just pull this back up. Okay. Development. Okay. So a few things that were mentioned in development for the dailies.
Yeah.
So I was really excited about this one. Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Damn it, that's what I picked.
You said when we were reading it, you were like, we probably have overlap. But I was like so excited about that. And I was like, there's no
I know
more
exactly why you were excited about it.
Do tell.
Sam Rockwell.
And?
That's all. Like Haley Richardson. Oh, Michael Pena.
Sam Rockwell and Haley Lou Richardson for sure.
I can't remember who she is though.
She was the actress in the movie Columbus that we watched and reviewed for our Critique-Opolis.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Like I can't see her face, but okay. She was okay.
She was like a dancer, and she was taking care of her mom.
Yeah.
And not living her own life.
Mm-hmm.
But Gore Verbinski, that's a big draw because he made the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I love those movies.
He's been out of the game for a while.
Yeah, I clicked on it and read it in 8 years. He's not directed anything in 8 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
But the title is very...
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, he has all that pirates money.
Yeah, I guess, he could just sit around. He doesn't really, good point, need to. But yeah.
How many of those did he do? Just one? Or did he do a bunch of them?
I think there's... Well, there are like 6 or 7,
but
4 or 5.
Did he helm all of them?
I would assume so. Him and Jerry Bruckheimer.
No, Bruckheimer produced them. He didn't direct them.
Well, that's what I meant, though. But, like, they work together. And
yeah, I mean, his directing fee is humongous for that. But
there are many of those movies, and I feel like...
No, I know. But, like, you know how, like, Bond movies, they bounce around with directors?
True. Yeah.
And, like, the Star Wars movies, they all had different directors.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if they were always a team or not. But I would say for at least a few of them, they were. Because I feel like there are so many.
This is a little off topic, but did you see how, like, I don't think it's bad for us to share. Like, we're not a big fan of things that are woke. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are not.
Did you see how they were going to make another Star Wars movie outside of the original 9, like a 10th one, and the director was this super woke Indian director, a lady, and I'll probably be getting some hate for this. Like, she went on a couple of talk shows and was just saying how the Star Wars universe needs to come into this century with its politics. And she was you didn't hear about this?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, and you know how, like, she just made the claim that she was going to be injecting all this woke political theory into this next movie.
It sounds... Not to interrupt you, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. It sounds vaguely familiar, and actually, because it's been a while, but I do remember that. I just didn't remember that the director was going to be an Indian lady, but I do remember some big hype on a new director for these movies and the woke part of things coming into the next movie. But
do you know what happened?
What happened?
They dropped her a week later.
Did they really?
They fired her.
Oh, thank goodness, because I was like, I'm going to have to go on a big thing about...
I'm sure there's a lot of Star Wars fans like, that's just such a tragedy.
I was going to say,
like,
100%. They were probably angry. I would be too. You can't...
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there's two different groups of...
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people who are like, we like them the way they were. And now that, like, Lucas doesn't own them, they're trying to Disney politify them. And, ugh. It's like, why can't we just have a story? Why do we got to have an agenda with...
And they're so...
Like, it destroys the nostalgia completely.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say, yep, exactly that.
Like, no, it doesn't have to. I'm like, but it does. Mm-hmm. It's not the same universe.
Yeah.
It's like intermixed with the geopolitical crap that's happening on Instagram now. Mm-hmm. It's not the story.
It's not the story. It wouldn't be the same.
It's like, I don't know what the draw... And, like, I remember seeing her on this panel of women in media who were being interviewed, and, like, she just kind of... And, like, before anybody... Not that everybody listens to our show, but, like, before anybody, like, comes at me, like, for... Like, I'm not some woman hater or whatever, but, like, she gets on her stump to... she kind of bashed the legacy of the previous movies, and, like, I didn't walk out of any of those movies thinking that any father was going to go home and beat his wife, you know. And I'm like, people want to go, and it's a fantasy, and they want to go and have the fantasy, and
and to enjoy something that's not political and not serious and not super woke, and not a star. That's just weird. And
I'm sorry, but. And I'm not even a Star Wars fan.
I know. I'm not really either. Like, I know of them, but...
But, like, the fact that woman got axed, I'm like, look, like, why can't you just do your job and make something awesome? Why does it gotta have... like, growing up in a time, even before I was around, like, it was gross to discuss religion and politics at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think it always has been.
yeah, and like now people do it now. It's like, oh, it means that it means you're enlightened or you're clued into what's going on in the world. I'm like, not necessarily. And if you are, okay, good for you. But like thinking that you're going to espouse what you read and it's going to apply to everybody at the dinner table is it's kind of lunacy.
Yeah, no, I don't think that that's necessary for discussion at the dinner table or lunch with your coworkers.
Or at the movie theater.
Just it's not. Oh gosh, I don't want to see it in the movies. I don't go to the movies for that.
But anyway, what was the synopsis on this? Good luck, have fun, don't die.
There really wasn't any information, unfortunately. Oh wait, no, I still have it up. Okay. Let's see. There wasn't a lot of information. It just says who's going to be in this movie.
You're on deadline, right?
What's that?
Are you on
Actually,
deadline?
yeah, I am. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information.
Oh, he made Rango too. The Ring.
Who did?
The Ring remake, Lone Ranger, Cure for Wellness.
Oh, Gore Verbinski.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information. It just says who's going to be in the movie, that he's directing it, that it's been a long time.
Oh, wait a minute. Here is behind the action-adventure film, which centers on a man from the future who arrives at a dinner in Los Angeles, of course, where he must recruit the precise combination of disgruntled patrons, Richardson, Pena, Beats, and Temple, to join him on a one-night, 6-block quest to save the world from the terminal threat of a rogue artificial intelligence.
Yep. Yes, if Louisa had scrolled down and read.
That's actually scrolling up.
Okay, well.
You big hurry.
One way or the other.
Whatever.
I was just excited by the cast.
All right.
And I couldn't get beyond that.
This one's going to bum you out. You know my pick?
What's your pick?
Dennis Quaid and Happy Face. Have you heard about this?
No, I have not.
Okay, so Dennis Quaid to play infamous serial killer in Paramount Plus series Happy Face. So I don't know if this will be in the theaters, but it'll be on Paramount Plus. He's going to appear alongside Anna Lee Ashford, and it's a series. It's inspired by a podcast of the same name on the iHeartMedia. A book called Shattered Silence, written by Melissa Moore. On Moore's true life story. I'm going to try to find the crush of it here. In real life, Moore discovered at 15 that her father was a serial killer known as Happy Face due to the smiley faces he drew on the evidence where he bragged about his crimes. As an adult, she changed her name and guarded her secret while her father had been serving life in prison. The official description for the series states that it jumps off at Moore's real-life story. Happy Face is incarcerated, also known as Melissa's once-beloved father. After decades of no contact, he finally finds a way to force himself back into his daughter's life. Race against the clock, Melissa must find out if an innocent man is going to be put to death for a crime her father committed. She discovers the impact throughout the story that her father had on his victims and his victims' families, and must face a reckoning of her own identity. This
is very interesting. I think I might have read about this in People magazine or seen something online about it, because the actress they're casting, what is her name? Anna Lee Ashford.
Yeah.
She looks exactly like the lady in the real true story. So I'm a little familiar, but I didn't read into it.
I got to tell you, I find this interesting about you because we listened to a podcast called The Casual Criminalist, which the host details a number of historic and famous and not so famous murders throughout history. And he takes you through the story from start to finish. And Louisa does not like horror. I don't really like horror either, but true crime is totally fascinating to me. Like
Isn't that? I always find that strange how that works.
well,
like
just because you know that a movie like a horror movie is fantastical. It's not. It's not really grounded in reality. It plays with your. It plays with your fears of the unknown. But like true crime, like these are people just you can be right next to them, and these are people who have. They're people who've murdered their own children, murdered the children of other people, or raped, or committed crimes and never gotten caught. Like there's a huge percentage of murders that have not been solved. Like and the people are still out there doing God knows what.
Yep.
Like I can't conceive of being like just committing a crime of that magnitude. I mean, how it would fuck with your mind. Like you wouldn't be able to sleep. Like you're waiting for the walls to close in, and these people, their brains are constructed in such a way that they have like a compulsion, and that is fascinating to me. It's like there's this anomaly in the mind that allows you to be like that, and it's part of your identity. It's almost like a job to some of these people. That I mean, I wouldn't take it so far as to say I'd ever want to be a profiler, but that's fascinating. Did you have another one?
That was my big one. I have to look and
I can't believe
see.
we picked the same one. There was like 20 on there.
There really were. There are like a million. Well, okay, so another one I'm excited about is Jordan Peele's next movie. It says has a 2025 tentative release date. I didn't click on it, so I don't actually know more information than that, but I do like his movies. He makes good movies.
Is that Keelan Peele or Keelan? What is it?
Key and Peele, I
Key
think.
and Peele. It's
Yeah.
the one tall, skinny guy, and the other guy's short. And
Yeah.
It's
You
all
got it.
comedy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jordan Peele's made. We went and saw one together. We were just talking about it.
It wasn't Red Rocket.
No.
They were in it.
The movie with
They
the
didn't make
aliens came to the ranch.
that. Was him?
Yeah, these are the movies he makes and Get Out.
They made that. I thought
Jordan Peele made that movie. I don't think that the other guy has anything to do with it.
What was the name of that movie? Not Look Up.
Nope.
Nope.
I always forget, and after
Yeah.
a few minutes discussion, I remember. Yeah,
Because
Nope.
the son was like, nope.
Yep. And also Nope.
You got to admit though, like you were not on board with going to see that.
No, I wasn't. But I liked that movie. And his other movie, Get Out, my mom and I went to go see that movie, and we would not have usually gone to see that
I wouldn't
movie.
have seen that.
Have you seen it?
No. Because I just get the impression that it's so unsettling.
It's very unsettling.
And it's deeply rooted in, it's a movie about like deep-seated racism. And just knowing that, like, because they're at like a rich white family's compound, right? Like, even as a white guy, being there and be like, there's something about this that seems insidious. Even when I'm around really wealthy white people, I'm like, you're up to something. And whoever the guy was in that, the boyfriend, I know there's a scene where he realizes everything, and his eyes are big and wide, and he's weeping. He's just, he's terrified by something, and I don't think I want to know what that is.
It was awful. But it was really good.
I may have to watch it at some point.
I would recommend it. I would watch it at some point.
At some point. I gotta eat.
It's very intense. But it was well done. Worth seeing.
Okay. I didn't have anything, I don't think. Nope. Oh, that was a happy face. And
Well, since we're talking about crime
what?
and movies, the Lionsgate commentary about...
Lionsgate Films?
Yeah, Lionsgate Films. They acquired domestic rights to a movie or a book or something called Greedy People, a crime comedy starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Lily James, and Himesh Patel. And I like all those people. Well, especially Lily
I
James
know,
and Himesh Patel.
I don't know those two, but I know Levitt.
Oh yeah. So I don't know any more about that, but that just, I mean, that is interesting to me.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye out for that. But I don't know. That's all I had.
Okay, that sounds good because it is dinner time.
I gotta eat. All right, we're gonna find another movie, and we're not gonna tell you what it is till next time we record. Hugs and kisses. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.